I wanted to basically test the idea, like the theory, that I can bring in cars to wrap. So we were using a apartment complex parking lot, and basically we were just renting out a couple parking spaces, just trying to see if I can get cars in. So it got very busy very quickly. At a certain point, it became a little interesting because I was like, wow, like people are really trusting me with their cars. It wasn't a very like inviting parking lot in like a luxury building. You know, like you're getting real customers dropping off their vehicles for wraps. So it was a good feeling. My name is Shawn Nieves. I'm the owner of Cars and Coffee, and we've been in business for 5 years now. What makes us special is that we take people's vision, their dreams, and turn it into reality.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for taking the time. I'm looking forward to having this conversation because I checked out a lot of the stuff that you do, and it's pretty unique. You're I don't know what the word is, but your expansion of work, I guess, your catalog of work is
Okay.
pretty impressive. You know, not only just cars. I just saw you did a casket recently.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty unique. But you do also a lot for businesses too. Like you'll do like designs for businesses on their
hmm
windows or stuff like that. So, kind of go into first of all, go into what you do, and then I'm curious about the name. So let's start about what you actually do, and then we'll
Sure.
take it from there.
What we actually do is we take your vision, basically your ideas, your concepts, like, and we turn that into like a rolling art piece. Even if you don't have, let's say, like the mindset for like I want to do this crazy design, when someone comes to me for a consultation, I will pretty much pique interest in like their lifestyle habits, like what they do. Do they want all that attention? Do they want to stay very low key but still have something that draws, still catches the eye? And basically, yeah, we put that on paper. We basically just print it and we install it on their vehicle.
So how does that work? Like, so you're printing this wrap, I guess, and then you're applying it to the vehicle. How does it? How do you apply it? How do you take it off? What is that
Yeah,
process?
so it's most of it is vinyl. Now it's becoming a PPF, so a paint protection film. But for the most part, it is vinyl. It's made out of PVC, and we have a whole wide format printer in our facility, and it basically the options are endless. Like you can do the craziest design as you like, or you could do it very simple.
And it doesn't affect the car when you take it off.
No, as long as it's like factory paint, you're pretty much good to go.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
yeah.
What has been your favorite design so far
Oh man. Actually, so we had done a wrap for Venom, and that was
for the movie?
no, it was a customer's vehicle.
Okay.
So we had worked on this project. It was in the New York Auto Show. It was a very cool wrap, very intricate, a lot of pieces, and probably one of my favorite wraps. Yeah. Aside from that, it would probably be the China print Porsche that we did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So tell me about the name, because where does the coffee fit into the cars?
Gotcha. So, cars and coffee is really a lifestyle. It's something that people do on the weekends. They do it Saturdays, Sundays at your local like parking lots and things like that, and kind of just network and chat about the cars and stuff like that.
So people like get together and
Yeah,
talk about their cars that they have while
correct.
drinking coffee.
Yes.
Oh
So
wow,
that's
that's so interesting. It's not my culture, so I
yeah. So it's a
just
very
learned something.
popular thing. It happens
Really?
like weekly, all over the world.
Really?
Yes.
How
So
would somebody even find something like that if they want to get involved?
So we can literally go on Google or on Instagram and just type in like cars and coffee meets, and
Really?
yeah, and it's very popular.
That's so fascinating. It's so interesting how like the world's so expansive in the sense of like there's so many things that go on like that
hmm
that I had no idea about.
Yeah. So
That's so you bring your coffee or like there's a coffee cart kind of thing or like what's the typical
um
setup?
so typically these meets they'll partner with like local cafes
Really?
and things like that.
That's
Yeah.
so interesting, man.
Yeah.
So so that's a culture of like what people do and they bring
Correct.
their cars and stuff. I guess a little different than the Fast and Furious culture from 20 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Much calmer.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. That's so fascinating. So like so you took that and tied that into the brand of your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. So basically what I wanted to do was make the shop, really like emphasize it that it's a lifestyle.
Mm.
Like it's something that I'm very passionate about and I live this. So like I live to basically take people's ideas and then put them on reality, like make them into a reality.
How'd you get involved in this?
So I got involved probably over 10 years ago. I was working at a shop and the vinyl installer there, he quit. So they had all these projects there, and at that time, I was like a sponge. I was already mentally wanting to open up something. I just didn't know where exactly in the automotive world I fit in. So at that shop, I was learning everything I possibly could. When that person quit, they basically presented the opportunity to me and said, "Hey, do you want to give this a try?" So I said, "Yeah, like let me do it." The
Hmm.
second I started, I like fell in love.
It's fascinating. Now, I want to kind of pivot a little bit because we talked about in the intro that you don't just do cars,
Correct.
right? So, like, you had, I guess you probably started doing cars, and then
Yes.
now it's expanded into what? Well, you tell me, what is it expanded into?
Yeah, so we do like storefronts, like we do Ralph Lauren, their whole display case every season. We've done like commercial fleets, so
Hmm,
basically
cool.
let's say something like Marc Jacobs. We did a vehicle for them. We wrapped like pianos for them. They had like a whole bar concept for their event for launch event. And yeah, like we do all that stuff. So we like piano, we wrap the bar, we do caskets. That's become a big thing now too,
It's
and
pretty cool.
yeah, it's definitely not a market I ever thought I'd get into.
Yeah, when you're
Yeah,
17 years old in high school, you're like, I'm gonna
yeah,
design caskets one
yeah,
day.
exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's really fascinating. Now, I'm just curious. Now, this is a selfish question because at my home studio, I have probably close to like 1,000 Polaroids that I've taken
Okay.
over the past 10 years. Um, and I don't work out of that studio much anymore. And people have given me the idea of considering to like maybe bring this the find the Polaroids here
Mhm.
and like put them not in this studio but like in the next door, like the office space,
Okay.
and like put them on the wall, just kind of like because part of what it is like it shows who I am. Like you have just all the things of what I've done, my fam, me, my kids, my I'm really big into hunting, so like the deers that I've shot and stuff like
Mhm.
this, and like it's a conversation piece because the people be like, oh, you know so and so, or oh, you're into hunting too, or oh wow, I've been to that place that you took, right? But the concept of moving 1,000 Polaroids
Yeah.
is I don't have the time for that,
Yeah.
or I don't want to make the time for that. Hypothetically, somebody gave me the idea of like taking a picture and getting it printed. Is that something like that? If somebody wanted to do something like that, or if
Mhm.
they had like an idea or concept that they wanted to put in their office or in their wall, like is that something you guys do, and how
Yeah.
does that go about it?
No, so if someone had an idea like that where they wanted to like print like portraits and like kind of hang them up, totally can be done. It's not a problem at all.
And it's like a big sticker.
Yeah, it's like a big sticker. If you even wanted to have it framed, so we can basically wrap it on like a piece of ABS plastic, and then you can frame it and hang on the wall, just like a picture.
It's pretty wild. Very interesting. Would it look like it was naturally on the wall? Could I make it look like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We could do. We can wrap the wall in like basically it's called architectural vinyl. So it's meant to go on the walls, and it doesn't damage the paint on the walls or anything when it's time to remove it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
In your artistical expertise, do you
Mhm.
think that would look cool back there? Or you think it would look cheesy back there?
No, I think it'd look very cool.
Genuine. You're not gonna offend me.
No,
I
no,
want a
no.
genuine opinion.
I think it would
Because
definitely
right now
be
it kind of. I mean, it's we're under construction over there, obviously, but
okay.
as you saw, but like it has a bit more of like a elevated look kind of thing when you walk in. It's
Mhm.
my goal, and I'm curious if that would bring that down or if it would be cool back there.
I think it would be cool just because it'll have a story. It's something of you that like you'd want to share with people, and I think that's always great.
Hmm.
I don't think that's ever like tacky or anything like that. So
Interesting. Well,
yeah,
we'll see what happens. We'll see what
yeah.
happens. So tell me a little bit more, I guess, about how these connections that you made. How do you end up getting a contract with Ralph Lauren and Marc Jacobs?
So the way I got these contracts is just social media, like Instagram.
You reach out to them or they reach out to you?
They reached out to me.
Really?
Yeah. I've
So
been
tell me about it. So expand on it. Like that you what were you posting?
so I've just been very blessed, and I've throughout the years I've made certain connections in the industry that they do like certain fleet wraps and like commercial vehicles and things like that. So it allowed me to kind of post that content and like have it on there. So it showed that we were like already capable of doing that work and that capacity. So I guess these brands are always like on the scout for like who is someone who can like handle that workload, and somehow like some for Ralph Lauren, someone actually showed up at the door and were like, "Hey, would you want to work with this brand?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I'm curious the efficacy of wrapping a vehicle. Do you think that with social media or the way people are always even on their phones while driving, is it still worth the branding, the cost of the branding of wrapping a vehicle?
I think so, for sure. I
And
mean,
why would you say that?
because it's like for most people, it's a business card, even when you're not next to your vehicle. Like if you're not next to someone to like physically hand them a business card, at least someone can see it, parked up somewhere, and they say, "Oh wow, like look at this company, like they do this, or they're in my area or something like that," and you kind of get that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you. I was just curious your perspective because for me at least, seeing for I see it a lot in this area, but like it's typically the service industry,
Hmm.
whether it be the mosquito remover, whether it
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
whether it be a specific construction company or anything like that.
Mhm.
You see them often enough, you're like, wow, they're always doing work in my neighborhood, or they're always like you, and
Yeah.
then so who they could honestly become first of mind
Hmm.
when you need that service. I could think
Absolutely.
of like specific like right off the top of my head, like it's either Universal. I'm not exactly sure, but like that, like plumbing company, like
Hmm.
I see their fleet everywhere, and
Okay.
it's just like, but I'm just saying, you might not know who they are, but it's just like it's ingrained in my mind. I'm like, wow, they're over here. Oh wow, I'm in Elmont today, and they're over here. Oh wow,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
the Mr. Mosquito or whatever it is, like the guy that
Yeah.
like you just see the stuff, and it's just like they. I don't know where his office is. I have no idea, but I've
Yeah.
seen that fleet wrap, all over the place,
Absolutely.
so it's a very interesting industry.
So to add to that, so kind of like I've mentioned before, like I'm not the best like socially, um, but I have wrapped like my personal vehicles in like crazy patterns and like something totally not my style, but I know that people will look at and want to take photos of, and I'll just park it on a busy street and I'll have my QR code on like the window, and like you'll get like 400 followers just like from the car being parked there for a couple hours.
Oh,
Yeah, it definitely works.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
What are you driving right now?
Oh, nothing interesting. I had a Porsche Cayman and I sold that, and now I'm just driving a BMW X2.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that wrapped?
It's going to get wrapped actually. The wrap came in. We just got the print media for it today, so it's going to go to the print process today, and actually by the end of the week, hopefully.
What's typical turnaround time? Like, I'm curious what the process is. So I come to you hypothetically with
Mhm.
my truck. Say I want to do some crazy wrap in my truck,
Okay.
right? I have a concept. Like, walk me through as if I was a customer.
Sure. Yeah. So what we would go through first is if you have the design already, some people do, and if you do, great. We just kind of go through to make it a printable file and like scale it accordingly. There might be some things that I might change because we'll go over because maybe they look good on a flat 2D image, but on a vehicle where there's a lot of curves, it might not look so well. So we make those adjustments. We go over that with you. If I'm doing the design, so basically I will ask you for any key pieces that you must have, and then are there like ideas that you're open to? Are there things that you don't like, colors, and from that process, once you get an approval on the finalized design, it's printing. It takes about a full day. It's usually about 8 hours to print a full vehicle, and then it is installation, which can be anywhere from like 1 to 3 days.
So hypothetically, based on obviously your how busy you are, but hypothetically, it could be happen in less than a week.
Yeah, absolutely,
Very interesting.
absolutely.
So tell me a little bit more about your demographic. I'm curious who your typical customer is, and if you find that there's a specific style of customer or clientele or anything like that.
Yeah, so our demographic, I'd say, really for standard vehicle wraps, it's actually the normal person, like someone who's not really in the car world at all,
Really?
which I love because it opens them up to the car world, the car culture. I've linked a lot of, everyday people into the actual cars and coffee world
Let me
where
just pause you real quick. When you say a standard wrap, is that like a business wrap or just like somebody that has a car that wants to get a design on it?
no, just like a standard wrap to me would be, let's say you have a white car and you want to make it satin black or you want to make it red or something like that. Like no particular like design work or anything like that. I would consider that like standard.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, like that's probably like one of the biggest markets. And then introducing them to other car people is like the best. Like I love when two of my customers are in this facility at the same time
Mm.
and they get to like talk and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I'm going to this show over here. You should come." And like next thing you know, they're like best friends. It's great. I love that. And that's what I think the brand like Cars and Coffee was meant to be, like a lifestyle. Apart from that, we do a lot of small businesses like local to us, and it's just pretty much their like work vans and things like that.
Where exactly are you based out of?
We're in Astoria, Queens.
Okay, cool. So talk to me about the process of you mentioned your facility.
Mhm.
Um, how did you end up finding a spot? Like, real estate in the city is not cheap.
Yeah.
So, like, talk to me about that process of what you were looking for and how you found it and
Yeah.
how it's been sustainable.
So how it started, if you don't mind me, like, kind of
Yeah,
starting from
please.
the beginning a little bit. I wanted to basically test the idea, like the theory, that I can bring in cars to wrap. So we were using a apartment complex parking lot, and basically we were just renting out a couple parking spaces, just trying to see if I can get cars in. So it got very busy very quickly. The neighbors got a little upset, but yeah. Next thing you know, we have like 4 or 5 cars there getting wrapped, and I said, okay, I got to get a small garage. Found one in Astoria by Ditmars Boulevard, and tried that out. It only lasted a couple months before it was like, okay, we have a space problem. Like we need more space. So found this facility through a friend, and it was very interesting. It was kind of just like the owner of the property took a chance on me, and he said, okay, like you're young, but I believe that you can do it. So he just a handshake, and next thing you know, I'm in there.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How long have you been in this new space for?
It's gonna be 3 years in this new space.
Wow, how long have you been in business for?
It's 5 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
very interesting. Very interesting. I'd love to hear a little bit more about the deal you had with the apartment complex. Because
Yeah.
one thing I think that because I love stories like that because
Mhm,
I think that true entrepreneurs they kind of will do anything to get their business started,
mhm.
and like they're I don't want to say they don't have shame because that's not exactly what I'm saying, but it's like it's kind of a weird concept to be honest with you. Like I'm sure you know, like oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's right. Like I would have never thought of doing that,
Mhm.
and I think it's cool. I think that people like they're willing to try these things that most people would like never even consider asking. Like to be honest with you, like I'm actually even surprised that some apartment complex said yes. So
Yeah.
like but I think that that's what's cool is so many people don't have the success because they don't even ask. And
Absolutely.
that's such a cliche. Oh, the door stays closed because you never knocked. Blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But it's true. And like the
Yeah.
fact that you had this opportunity is because somehow you asked, and like
Yeah.
it's just that's fascinating. So please tell me about that.
Yeah, I so basically to get that space, I had a friend who he was living in the building, and he said like, "Hey, why don't you ask my landlord? I think he might give you some leeway."
And how many cars would fit in this garage? Like, are we talking like a
Um, it would fit about 20 cars,
okay?
and so when I asked them, they let us use one space. Uh, but then I started getting in more cars, and he said like, okay, maybe you can use this one. So then I was kind of like tiptoeing around people's parking spaces whenever they would leave, and then it just became like, hey, can I just rent out your space? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. So ended up just playing nice with everyone and
Sure.
kind of everyone working with me. But then once it got to the point of like having 5 vehicles in there,
Yeah.
it was like, all right, like you already proved the concept. Now you should start looking for a space.
What I think is really cool about what you did is it goes against the two problems that I think business owners have, or potential business owners. And one is either they have this great concept, but they don't know how to pull it. They're afraid to pull a trigger because they
Mhm,
don't have they don't I guess think outside of the box and how can I get this started
mhm.
no matter what, right? And that's what you did. You were like, let me figure out something. Or the alternative, which I think is also a very dangerous game, is like they jump too far in too quickly.
Yeah,
It's like, let me get this 10,000 square foot space because I think that this is going to be the next big thing.
yeah.
And it very well might be, but like getting yourself involved in this. I had a really interesting conversation once with a restaurant owner in this podcast, and he's like, ironically, the thing that fails most restaurants, and this could be said for any business,
Mhm.
is getting into the restaurant with a bad lease.
Oof, yeah.
And it was fascinating because it had nothing to do with food, it had nothing to do with service, it had nothing to do with product. It was their real estate deal. And if they
Yeah.
sign a bad contract and the rent is too high and they can't sustain, no matter how good their food is, they can't sustain it. And I
Mhm,
found that really interesting because it's like sometimes these places they'll either don't do anything because they think that like they're too afraid to either sign that big lease
mhm.
or they don't, and I think that what's interesting is like I've always found for myself to a fault sometimes that I'm always like, there has to be an answer. There
Yeah,
has to be a way for me to do this. Even like I gotta figure it out. Like,
yeah,
and that's what I find so interesting about the fact that you just rented out
yeah.
some spots in a apartment complex. I
Yeah.
think that's so cool.
Thank you.
Um,
sorry to cut
No,
you
no, no, go
off.
for it, please. I was
So,
done.
we had a couple spaces. So one of them was the apartment complex, and we were also renting out like a parking lot, like in a church. And it was just kind of just bouncing around like different places. And at a certain point, it became a little interesting because I was like, wow, like people are really trusting me with their cars, like it
Yeah,
wasn't a very like inviting parking lot in like a luxury building. It was it was like a regular apartment building, and like you're getting real customers dropping off their vehicles for wraps, and they have to
yeah.
have complete faith that like you're not just gonna run off with their vehicle, right? So it was a good feeling. I
That's
built some
so
sort of
wild,
trust.
man.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's impressive. It really is. It's but also at the same time, I want to compliment your humility at the same time because I think that again, sometimes business owners can be a little too prideful and be like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed that this is where we work at." And it's like, I mean, maybe you did feel that way. I have no idea, but like,
Mhm.
they let that get in the way of any sort of potential shot at success. And like, everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like the fact, I don't know, think that's I admire. I think it's pretty
No,
cool,
thank
man.
you.
Um, so how many people do you have working for you now?
It's four.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still doing all installs, or is that all you guys
No,
underneath?
I'm hands on every project. Yeah. Yeah, there might be one or two that might not be able to like get hands on. But for the most part, I'm like hands on like everything. So either it's installing or doing like print production, one of the two.
What's typical turnaround time for you now? Like, are you super busy that it's like a month wait, or is it? Can you get people in? Like, what's a
Uh,
typical?
so it depends on the project. Usually like the lead time is about like a month and a half. Like if someone's like calling like, hey, I just want to wrap my car. Uh, but depending on the car, every car is a little different and every project's a little different. So we can maybe bring it in sooner. Uh, to do a full commercial wrap, like I said, it's usually about 1 to 3 days, and to do a personal car is usually about like 2 to 4 days.
So I'm curious about the standard wrap that you mentioned before. Like, you have a white car and you want to make it satin
Hmm.
black, which the satin cars are so cool looking.
Yeah.
They look sick, man. What's a general pricing? If you, I'm curious. Like, like not specific. I want to know
Yeah.
like ballpark range.
So it usually starts around 2,800.
Okay.
Yeah. So it'll start around 2,800. That's for pretty much for most vehicles now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whether it be a truck or a little sedan.
So a truck SUV, they go for a little bit more, 3,200 because
Okay.
of like the sizing. Um, yeah, depending on what needs to be like disassembled and things like that.
And when does it start to get really pricey, or if it does?
It gets pricey for chrome, and it gets pricey for paint protection film.
Meaning what?
So paint protection film usually around like 6,500.
What is paint production?
Oh, so basically paint protection film is a clear film. It also comes in color form now, which is like amazing. And it is basically like the new technology. This is like what everyone wants in their cars. It's great. So, which is like something really interesting. I'll kind of go into it in a little bit, but paint protection film is
Paint
something.
protection film.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will protect your vehicle from like more from like rock chips if someone like keys your vehicle, from like bumper, like if you're parking, someone kind of like scratches your bumper, at least your factory paint will remain intact. So replacing the film is not the problem, but it's having to like repaint a vehicle, part of the bumper, which is annoying. So this prevents
Interesting.
that. Yeah.
Very interesting. So, but and I think you had a side point that you were going to make about that too, or
Yeah, so for paint protection film, so we've worked with all the brands, and this has been ongoing for like a year
the
now.
brands that make that product.
Correct. Yes. And we worked all the brands that manufacture. There are definitely some great ones, but now we're actually in the process of manufacturing our own.
Really?
Yeah, so it's been going for a year now, and we actually just started getting like the real like rolls of material like finally coming in where I'm like approving it, and I'm very very particular. So um I just wanted something that was basically accessible to everyone. Um I feel like a lot of these paint protection brand films and the way they manufacture them, the way they advertise them, it's only for exotic vehicles. It's only for like if you have a Lamborghini and Ferrari, but what about the person with like Honda Accord or a Camry? Like they should be able to like afford that product too. It shouldn't just be 6,500 for that. So basically we found a way to manufacture that, basically give the film cost to the customer, basically, and it's creates a $6,500 total turnaround to 4,500. or like 3,500 even in some cases.
And how is that? How have you done that?
That's
Without getting your like,
yeah.
proprietary information, but like what has been the thought process on how you did that?
So it's been a long, stressful process. We manufacture, or we partner with a lot of the manufacturers that like basically manufacture the big brand films, but we found a way to basically make it a certain way, and I love it. It's like dry application paint protection film, 7.4 mil thickness, and like
So how does it work? Is it just a thicker film that, like, how does it actually protect your car?
yeah, so it basically feels like rubberized, like kind of like a Teflon, kind of like kitchen appliance. It kind of feels like that. Um, other manufacturers of PPF have done it where it feels like that, but the thing is, the application is like impossible, and the removal process is like impossible. So, we kind of started working on it where it is a simple install and it's a simple removal.
Hmm. So now, can people wrap their cars if they have to own the car? Can it be a lease? What's the process with that?
No, a lot of people do wrap and do paint protection film on leased vehicles. It's actually become one of the most popular options because when you return a lease, usually they nickel and dime you for every little imperfection that the vehicle has. So this kind of alleviates that.
Yeah, I guess because you're like putting a extra protection
Yeah,
layer on the outside.
absolutely.
And what's also interesting is depending on the car, like my wife is looking at a Toyota Grand Highlander right now
Hmm.
because we are running out of space.
Yeah.
And we need space, but like that car is in such crazy demand. I don't know
Hmm.
if you know anything about like that stuff, but
Yeah, the Highlanders, yeah, very
yeah,
popular vehicle.
super, super high demand. And like a lot of these dealers will have one, if any, and like, I don't think she really wants to be driving around a cherry red car.
Hmm.
But it'd be an interesting concept of like, okay, we got a great deal on the lease because that was the only one available, or whatever the case, or we actually got a lease because that was
Yeah,
and then you could just wrap it to whatever color you want,
absolutely.
which is
Absolutely.
very interesting.
That was very uh that was a very big thing during COVID, where vehicles were like not really getting manufactured, and it was just like a slow time for the automotive world. Like the rap industry boomed during COVID. It was like very interesting to see. I felt like the entire world took a pause, and like the rap industry just like shot up.
Yeah, I guess because either it felt like you got a new car because you wrapped it, or you got a car that you maybe didn't love, but you were able to turn into something you
Yes,
loved.
absolutely.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, the dealers were working with so many wrap shops at that time because they were like, "Hey, we have only this car in white." They're trying to just, sell it off to whoever was willing to buy
Yeah,
it,
but
and then
we can
yeah,
give
like,
you a good
oh,
deal on
yeah,
this.
don't worry about the car color. Like, we'll get it wrapped for you. So,
Very
yeah.
interesting, man. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm just even thinking about it now because, like I said, that's actual real story. This one dealer has a cherry red
Yeah.
Highlander, and I'm like, that's cool. Like it's the only one you have, but it's
Yeah.
also cherry red, and like it's cool for some people, but like my wife is not gonna go for that.
Yeah. I
That's
get it.
just she like wants to fly under the radar.
Yeah,
Like that is not her thing. But that's an interesting concept that we could just wrap it black, or
absolutely.
I don't think she'd like go for satin black, even though I try to push her for that.
That's like the Batmobile. That's
It's
such a
so
cool
cool,
color.
man.
Yeah, it's a cool
Absolutely.
color.
See a lot of these things. Yeah, they look great with the
Mhm.
satin blacks. Yeah, they look really cool. A truck would be pretty cool with a satin black.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Very interesting. Yeah, I have all these conversations with people in the podcast, and it's funny because like so many of the businesses are so cool. I'm like, oh wow, I gotta sign up for this. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
gonna spend all my money just based on the fact of
Yeah,
having this
yeah.
podcast because all these businesses are interesting in what you guys do.
Mhm.
I want to kind of pivot away from the car, so I want to talk a little bit more about the other stuff that you do. And just like are you is that an industry like whether it be the caskets or the business wraps like the windows like
Mhm.
is that something you're pivoting into more so or it's just when they come like what does that look like?
Uh, it's kind of just in the mix of everything. We are actually working on a project right now for an apartment complex in Jersey, and we wrapped all the dishwashers, all the refrigerators, and like a stainless steel kind of like brush finish.
Oh, what?
And
So they bought like a
yeah,
plastic.
yeah, they
That is
bought
so
yeah.
fascinating, man. You could like fake your whole life.
Yeah, yeah. So it is basically they
That's
bought like
so
the plastic
wild.
white ones,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're just wrapping them in like the stainless steel material. So you would never know, like
That is
really.
so wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what is the wrapping process? Is it like like use like some sort of heat element to melt it around, or like what is the?
Yeah. So basically, you would just use a heat gun, your squeegee, and your blade, and it's pretty much just squeegeing the material. Some materials need heat to actually activate the adhesion, and then some materials, they're just very tacky from the start. So
It is fascinating, man. It's just like that world of AI.
yeah,
We don't know what's real anymore. Even
yeah,
your real life refrigerator can be
yeah,
fake. It's
yeah.
so crazy, man. So what else are you working on that'd be interesting to hear like that?
Uh, so we are doing a so this week we're actually doing car for FC Liverpool, like an old school checkered cab. So that's pretty cool. It's a vehicle, but like sometimes like they'll want to do branding as far as like a storefront that they're gonna be in or something like that. So we've done that for like Sephora a bunch of times, and there was a Microsoft convention at Marriott Hotel in the city, and we had to wrap every single elevator door, every single
Oh wow.
pillar, and we could only start at like 12 until like 12 midnight until like 7 a.m. When I did that install, I was like, oh, I have plenty of time, but it's a lot of elevators in that building.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
just the four of you did it?
Huh? No, so that particular install, it was just me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I thought I had like plenty of time. I was like, wow, okay, like 7 hours to do elevators and pillars. Then you start to realize like there's a lot of supports in that building and a lot of elevators and yeah, so it ended up
That's
being a big
wild.
job.
So I'm curious, like, talk to me about the difference between working corporate, working the private, I guess would be the other. Like the average person that comes in to get a wrap versus working for like, whoever FC Liverpool
Yeah,
or Sephora or these are some huge national brands that you're talking about, like
yeah,
Marc Jacobs. So talk to me about the difference, of all aspects of working just a regular guy and working with this corporate
that's an amazing question. So like the difference between working with a normal person, like a individual versus a corporate brand.
individual. That's a better
Yeah.
example of the word.
So, so yeah, the difference between working with an individual versus like a big brand would definitely be the emotion. So when you do these corporate brands, there's no emotion behind it. It's just, can you get it done? Can you get it done as cheap as possible? And can you get it done in this time frame? When you're working with an individual, like a person, they're just excited about it. This is their vehicle, or this is their, sometimes they're doing their storefront or they're, a wall in their house or something. And it's something that they've been wanting to do for a while and it's like thought out. So they want to express all these ideas to you. And then when you finish the product for them there or the service, they're excited. I never really get to see the end result for the corporate. It's just,
So it's interesting. You actually find more joy, based on what you're saying, if I'm understanding correctly, from doing the individual side rather than the corporate side, like the customer relation aspect, or
yeah, it's just
bec-
such a different vibe. Like it's totally different. One is behind like email and it's like looks good. And then the other one is like
yeah. So that's so interesting because the reason I smirked when you said the biggest difference between working with corporate and working with a regular individual was
Mhm.
emotion. Is that concept has come up probably 5 times in the past couple of interviews because this one, he was a kid, he was 20 years old, owns his business, and the podcast was the Jack Reinhard podcast. With he was owns a tent company
Okay.
and sets up tents, and he was just starting to get involved with corporate. And he said the major difference again between corporate and individual was the emotion.
Yeah.
He said that the biggest difference is that, but it was interesting. His perspective was the opposite. He's like, I'm actually trying to move into corporate because there is no emotion, as opposed to like, oh, it's grandma's 80th birthday and there's a little tiny pinhole in the tent and now they're all freaking out because there's all
Mhm.
this pressure. And he's like, there's none of that in corporate. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is exactly what we need. This is just like, yeah, sure, we can do that,
Yeah.
as opposed to like somebody like, I don't know, we have 50 people come in. He's like, it's just interesting. And
Yeah.
part of again, I'll say it again, I've said it so many times, that what struck me is when as soon as he said, oh, I prefer working with corporate, my immediate response in my head was like, oh, obviously, because like you can make more money in corporate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it was not anything to do with the fact of the emotion, and I found that so fascinating. But it's interesting that you actually see it on the opposite side, that while you
Mhm.
could make more money with corporate, you'd enjoy
Yeah.
the, I guess, human interaction of.
Yeah, absolutely. In the corporate world, you also deal with like a lot of last minute things. So it's like be prepared to send a print file for 20 cars like the night before they're supposed to get installed. And like they will always change like such minute details that no one will ever notice. But
Really?
yeah, it's like an email thread between like 30 people, and I just at this point I kind of just like fall back until like I'm really needed, and I'm just like, okay, you guys figure it out, and when you need me, like I'm here. Um, and then yeah, it's just print and like send it, like get ready to go because now it's gonna be like a long week. So
Interesting.
yeah.
And you said something that I found particularly interesting was the fact that they want you to do it as fast as possible, with for as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
And I found that pretty interesting because it depends, but I more often than not, I felt and found that like because of the lack of emotion in business, because it's not their money, they're like, man, we have the budget for whatever X, and like, sure, if you're in the budget, cool.
Hmm.
Um, as opposed to working with somebody that does, like maybe is a little bit more emotionally involved, where it's their money, they're
Hmm.
like, then they're like, oh well, can you, I don't this and that, can we do this? So I was curious actually just to talk to me about the
Yeah, totally. So with these big brands, they're pretty hip to getting vinyl work done or like event. I call it like the event space of wrapping, right?
yeah.
So like they're pretty hip to it. So they either it pretty much deal with all the same people. It's weird. Like I'll deal with one person working in Marc Jacobs, and then next thing you know, next year they're working for like Adidas or something, and like I'll see the email pop up, and I'm like, oh hey, how's it going? So, but they're pretty hip to it now. So you can't just like really charge what you want. It's kind of just or like what you would like to charge is basically they're like, okay, we want you to do this job. This is how much we're willing to pay. Are you gonna do it? Yes or no? And or they'll reach out to you and say, hey, can you give us a quote? And then whoever is willing to just do it like $1 cheaper, they'll just go there.
Really,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really surprised by that actually.
Yeah, but we have like amazing relationships with certain brands, like Red Bull, one of them. So like we do all their fridges, and we do like their like trailers and stuff like that.
Wow.
They
You
are,
work with some huge names, man. I didn't realize it just from like from doing the
yeah,
stuff like that, the research that I did.
yeah.
Um,
So we were definitely with some cool brands. It's not something I like. Like I post a lot of the stuff, but I also don't get to post a lot of the stuff that I do. Yeah.
because of like non-disclosures
No,
or
it's just, I never really get around to it. Like sometimes I'm just like scrolling and like I'll just be on the couch and I'm like, oh man, I should probably post something. Like, all right, let me just scroll down and I'll just grab like whatever's like there like recently and I'm like, all right, cool, let me put this up.
yeah.
Yeah, so
If I could give a piece of advice that's
mhm.
changed my social media, I mean, my wife makes fun of me here and there because uh, my wife's a nurse,
Okay.
and all the nurses are married to either firemen, policemen, and she goes, and I married a content creator because it's true, and it's insane to me that like she's right, like 100% of my income for the past 10 years has come
Mhm.
from content creation, and it's like insane, whether it be when I was doing YouTube full time, or whether this,
Mhm.
or whether me working with clients to do their social media. Like it's insane, like that the social if the social media industry didn't exist, like my whole income would not be there, and it's
Mhm.
wild. But as somebody that does this full time, one huge suggestion I can make if you're interested
Yeah,
would
please.
be setting an hour once a month and using a platform like Later or Buffer, and all you need to do is you just schedule them to
Oh,
post. Yeah, it's a game changer. It's what I do.
okay.
It's a huge game changer. You can actually, a lot of these apps will innately let you schedule.
Okay.
So if you're only posting to Instagram, you can actually schedule inside of Instagram.
Oh,
Same
that's
thing with
cool.
TikTok. I don't know if you can do it in the actual app of TikTok, but you can do it on the website of TikTok. Buffer is beneficial, or like Buffer, like Buffer, or
Okay.
Later, Later. They're beneficial if you're going to be posting to multiple platforms. So like I post to Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Okay.
Sometimes Facebook. So like if I'm posting the same video on all three platforms, I don't have to go there and post on Facebook and post on it. It'll just send it to there. So
Mhm.
you do the work once and it'll send it there. But you can schedule individually on these
I
platforms. So
like
like,
that.
so
That's
like
really
you
cool.
set. So what I do is there's paid versions and free versions. The free is typically allow you to schedule out 10 posts.
Okay.
And then you just, or the paid is you could do like as many as you I guess pay for.
Mhm.
So a trick is if you stick with, even if you do the free, I mean, if you're posting once a day, that's a week and a half, 10 days.
Mhm.
A lot of them will actually let you like draft it in a schedule. So
Okay.
you could literally do 30 days, and then on the ninth day, you just go and hit the button to schedule that draft, because you could draft it for 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, but
Gotcha.
it won't post on its own because you hit your 10 limit. but it's a rolling 10, right? So
Okay.
like as one post, now you have one that's free. You could, you
Gotcha.
know,
Understood.
so once a week or about once a week, I'll just sit down and spend a half an hour and schedule these posts and like just, do my thing. And then,
Mhm.
because I've tried, I will never sit down daily. It takes 5 minutes
Yeah.
maybe, but I'll never do it because I'm like, oh, I'll do it later today. Oh, I'll do it. It just never happens.
Gotcha.
So I spend the hour, then I don't think about it because then it automatically posts.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, look, there's comments. Oh, every time so that's a major. And then if there's something that inspires you immediately, you could be like, oh, let me post it. And now you have a second post for that day.
Yeah.
But automatically, on some of my platforms, I'm posting 3 times a day, and
Gotcha.
I'm not doing anything. I just did
Wow.
it
That's
once.
really interesting, actually. I like
I
that.
actually, before I even came here, I was doing that. Maybe spent a half an hour, and I'm scheduled right now until Friday,
Wow.
and I'll post 3 times a day until Friday, and I don't have to do it a single thing if I want to.
That's great,
So that's
actually.
a major, major game changer in the social media industry.
No, I need to work on that because yeah, I'm like not consistent because it's just too
So
much.
there is this other side of the argument that like you're not innately posting on Instagram, and Instagram knows that, and they want you to be interactive on their app and using their edits app or all this stuff, right? But you know what's not going to matter? Like when that's not going to matter is if you don't post at all.
Yeah.
And that's the alternative. Is like these businesses like they're like, okay, well, fine, I'll do it in Instagram, but then they don't actually do it, so nothing happens, and maybe it doesn't get instead of 1,000 views, it gets 800 or 500. Well, that 500 is better than zero that you wouldn't have had because you didn't post in the first place,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So that's the argument that I have for it because I know that I wouldn't post it otherwise.
Yeah, no, totally. So I have this because like I handle like the posting, like responding to people, pretty much, handle all that. Um, so what happens is whenever I post, I end up getting like messages being like, "Hey, you never got back to me." And like, "Hey," like I'm like, "Oh no."
Which is funny because I'm the same boat because I
Yeah.
schedule things out. I don't check it that often
Hmm.
because I don't have to open the app,
Yeah.
to post. So then, like, I'm probably with the messages you send. Like,
Yeah.
I actually just opened it today and saw that you messaged me on Friday, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I had texted you otherwise, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't have seen it because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't. And then I'm like, oh wow, it's been 3 weeks since that person. Oh my gosh, but
Yeah.
but I don't because it's a problem. I'm working on it, but
Yeah. Same here. Same here.
so I'm curious. Most of your leads come through Instagram.
Solely through Instagram. Yeah, I mean like Google too, because like we have good reviews on Google, which is I think essential. Like I take a lot of pride in that. Um, but yeah, I think it's mainly just social media. I think it's pretty hip. Everyone says I should get on TikTok or something like that, but I just thought to do well on one platform and just like excel on that versus like bouncing around all the
Mhm.
platforms. And maybe that's like very simple minded or something, but
I think there's definitely a strength to it. The only concern that I have with that, personally, just being in the industry, is that if something ever happens to Instagram, all your eggs are in one basket.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but there's a lot of people that will argue, and a lot of people that I work with in the industry that are like, just pick one and do really, really well with it. Because
Yeah,
look, Instagram's also been around for 13 years at this point.
absolutely.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's 2012 when Instagram came out, or 2010. So it's 15 years, 16 years. So it probably is not going anywhere anytime soon. But if you build a whole business around it, and then 5 years from now it does go somewhere, just like Snapchat, like it's still around, but it's not really super relevant,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
Um,
Yeah.
it's just something to consider. And I think that you could post a lot of the same content. Like, I hope this is just ideas because I
Yeah,
think
no.
your industry is really interesting. Like, what I think would be really cool is you literally holding your phone, but doing a selfie, be like, so I just wrapped this car for Red Bull. I just want to show you what we did, and blah
Mhm.
blah. I think that's sick. Like people would be like, hey, "This dude wrapped his car for Red Bull." Like,
Yeah.
wow, or I just wrapped his. So I just wrapped 15 mini fridges for Red Bull. I just want to show you what one of them looks like and how we actually went about it. Like
Mhm.
no editing, no anything, just selfie, and then like be like, oh, so here's we, or oh, let me show you something funny we did for an apartment complex. These were actually just white,
Yeah,
white
yeah.
things,
That's a
and
good
what we actually
idea.
did. Just I think that stuff would be so interesting, and you could literally post that as a reel, and on TikTok, or you could use a platform like Buffer, and just post it on YouTube Shorts, all of them all at the
Mhm.
same time. You just hit that,
I
schedule all
like
three at
that.
the same time.
I like that idea
In
actually.
addition to just photos, because I think you have a really interesting platform of being like, especially working with so many brands, as
Mhm.
long as they don't make you sign like a non-disclosure, um, you have huge leverage being like, yeah, we just worked with Marc Jacobs and we just did all this stuff, or we just worked with
Yeah,
Ralph Lauren. Like
for
these are
sure.
huge names that you could tie yourself to is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, because not only are you getting car fans or whatever, or you're getting all the Ralph Lauren fans and all the, people that care about
It's a
Marc
nice
Jacobs.
mix.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's a fascinating. You're in a really interesting position. But I think that you talking about it and just even just a selfie would do really really well.
I think so, actually. I've been trying to be not so camera shy.
It doesn't have to be you though. It
Yeah,
could be one of your guys.
that's true too. Yeah,
That's another thing that business owners, you know, sometimes make a mistake on is they assume it has to be them. It'd be beneficial if it was them,
hmm
um, but if they're super against it or they're getting in the way of the content doing well, and you have some 17-year-old kid that like is great on camera, there's no harm in him being the face
that's
of the
true.
business.
Totally true. Yeah,
Just an interesting thing. I even there's a lot of companies that I work with that even just hire models. That's a really interesting idea. You can hire some like you hire some really pretty 20-year-old girl that like is kind of into cars,
hmm
and she becomes the face, and you just pay like you film a couple times a month with her. You bring her in,
it's
and
not a bad idea,
and be like,
actually.
come on, every 20-year-old, 30-year-old car guy sees a good-looking girl talking about
Yeah,
cars, or
yeah.
like how hey we just here at I'm sorry, is it coffee and cars or cars and
Cars
coffee?
and coffee.
Okay, here at Cars and Coffee, we just did, I want to talk about some of the jobs we just did. Here's a picture of, and you could, even if she's not in front of them, you could do like a screenshot
Yeah.
of like here's here are here are three jobs we did, one and is us, here's the Red Bull one that we did this month, and 2 weeks ago we actually did this thing for Marc Jacobs, and then, if she's good on camera, but like she has to be good on camera, that's the
Yeah.
caveat, she can't
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
pretty. Like, like, but if she's a pretty,
Yeah.
good on camera, and it would be beneficial if she kind of understands the industry a little, or you could teach her.
hmm
I think it'd do insane.
Yeah, I think so too.
And
Yeah.
what do you pay her, $20 an hour, $30, even $30 an hour? She's there for 3 hours, $90 for you. Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing, man. I
I,
think that
I
would
hear
kill. I
that.
think that would
Yeah, I
kill.
definitely
Like
gotta
you
look
could
into
film
that.
30 videos in an hour and a half,
That's true.
and
Yeah.
so now you're paying $3 a video. Because
Damn, now you got me thinking for real.
right, come on, see, this is my industry. This is what I do.
You got me really thinking.
Yeah, man. So it's an interesting. I think that you have a really interesting opportunity. This now, and this is for any business owner listening. It could be the same thing for restaurants. And industry that I think would be really interesting is the modeling industry. Like part of what I think is cool about like the company that I work with, because I do a lot of subcontract work.
Mhm.
Um, I've managed social media pages in the past, and it's
Yeah.
if the right business comes around like here and there, I do it. I don't really particularly search it out because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because like if I were to take over your Instagram page, not only am I coming up with the content ideas, I'm filming the content, I'm
Mhm.
scheduling the posts. Somebody messages you, I'm telling you that somebody messaged you.
Mhm.
I do a lot of stuff with restaurants, and these restaurants they have specials, they have menu changes. So like I'll post hypothetically we'd post something and be like, oh, check out our chicken burger today. Oh, actually we're out of the chicken burger. Can you take that post? Like there's so many moving parts,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that being said, like it's these businesses like can bring in models and like have them talk about their business. I think that's a totally underutilized area because the business owner thinks that they have to be the one on camera, and either they don't do it because they hate being on camera, or
Mhm.
they do it and they might be hindering the business because look, it's better than nothing. It's better,
Yeah. Yeah.
but maybe there's even a better option where you don't
Mhm.
even have to do it, and you have some good-looking 20-year-old guy or 20-year-old girl become the face of the business.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Definitely.
Thank you for my rant.
No, thank you.
I totally took over the
No,
rant
no,
right there
no, no,
because
thank
I just
you.
find that so fascinating. I hope you don't mind.
No, no, not at all. It's actually good advice. Like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's just fascinating. Like you keep dropping these brand. Yeah, we worked with Red Bull. I was like, I didn't see that on Instagram. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like that's
Yeah.
wild. Like those are some huge names that you could attach yourself to.
No, thanks. Like I post them on like our stories here and there, but sometimes I just feel like it's not. I think maybe why I don't post them as much is because I feel like it's not relevant content.
In what sense?
So I feel, or not relevant, but like not relatable.
I understand.
That's why. So
a caveat that I'm curious about if that was the case is like if I'm some just regular Joe that wants to get my car wrapped for $3,000,
mhm,
and I see that you're doing all this stuff for Red Bull, am I going to reach out because
yeah,
I'm just going to assume you're too expensive? And I don't
exactly.
know. I don't know. I wonder if that is going to become an issue. I don't know.
So I've had people tell me that before. So I think this is my opinion solely, but I feel like a lot of people who start a shop and they say, I want to work on cars, but I want to work on the high end cars. I want to work on Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all that stuff. I had that perception as well. Like, okay, I'm working with Mercedes and BMW right now, but I want to work on these like ultra high end vehicles. You start working on those, and then you push away everyone else. And like, what's like the ratio of people who own Lamborghinis versus someone who owns a Honda Accord? Like, I'd rather wrap like 1,000 Honda Accords than wrap one Lamborghini.
So the benefit of social media could also be the fact that you can phrase that in your posts. Like
Hmm.
you don't have to only post the Red Bull and the Lamborghinis and stuff like that. You could be like, hey, who just wrapped this Toyota, I don't know, like or Nissan Sentra,
Hmm.
and I just want to remind you guys that we don't, yeah, we do have do some really big projects with some really big brands, but we're here for the local guy that lives in Queens or whatever.
Yeah,
So if you're interested in wrapping your car, come on in. Boom, simple as that. Like reminding them, like, hey, we also do just regular cars. We don't
yeah,
have to.
for
So that
sure.
could be that the phrasing of how you do it within the business too.
Absolutely. And like, it's funny that I actually brought up like starting out how I just wanted to work on those vehicles because it reminds me of pricing. So when I started out, I was saying to myself like, okay, you're gonna charge a more affordable price. Like if everyone's charging like 3,000, you're gonna charge like 2,000,
Mhm.
2,100. But then when it comes time for those people want to rewrap their vehicle like 3 years later, 4 years later, and now you're charging what you want to charge, people are like, "What? That's what you charging? Like, no way! Like, that's insane. Like, how did your price increase so much?" But like like people ask me like, "What should I do? Like, what should I do with my pricing or something like that?" And I always tell them like, charge what you want to charge from the beginning. You might get less people starting out, and then it'll grow into your customer base. But if you start charging like super low now, like they will take advantage of you later on because now you're going to be
Yeah.
like 5 years in and they're going to say, oh, please, like, you wrapped my car for
Yeah.
2000 before, like, just do it again. And
It's so
yeah.
interesting, man, how the same concepts come up in so like in interviews, and it's because it's true, and I think
Mhm.
that people just need to hear it over and over again. Because the last guest I just had on, Brandon from Red Max
Mhm.
events, kind of similar industry to you, because what he does is like live event. I don't want to say he phrased it better, but like decoration kind of thing,
Okay.
um like vinyl prints or PVC prints for like if Honda has an event, like they'll design like the experience thing, whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Like
Okay.
but kind of similar to like what you're doing, but he's not rapping. I think they're building more of the stuff, but
Gotcha.
it's very similar. But he exactly said the same thing. He's like, you have to train your customers, because if you're too lax with them or don't give them clear guidelines, it'll bite you in the butt in the end. And if
Yeah.
you trying to give them a discount in the beginning, they're going to expect that discount later. Or if one that I struggle with and I need to work on is last minute jobs. Hey, can you get this done tonight?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, sure, I'd like the money, but also like, sure, like I don't have anything going on. But then they expect that,
Hmm.
and the next time it's like, hey, can you get this done tonight?
Yeah.
Hey, next week. Oh, hey, but you did it last time. You did. Is there any chance you could? And you
Yeah.
train them, and you just train them. Hey, this is what we do. This is how we do it. This is a typical turnaround time. This is what we charge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll take advantage of it later on, and it's not their fault, because it's just what you've taught them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like it's because then I get annoyed, be like, don't these people ever give any heads up? But it's like I'm the only reason that they
Yeah.
don't need to, because I said yes last time in the past
Yeah.
10 times. So
Yep.
stop saying yes. Maybe you'll teach them, or didn't don't say yes in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's difficult, because like a lot of times you don't want to say no,
Sure.
because it's not even about losing the money, but it's more about, wow, like this person's going to go to someone else.
Sure.
And if they potentially do a good job, that person might refer, their people, or
Sure.
that could be like five customers, right? So sometimes it's a hard dance that you're doing, like this weird fine line. And I hate being in that position.
Yeah.
I love when clients like value our work and they say like, okay, this is the price, no problem. Once in a while you get customers say like, wow, that's like so much, I'll go somewhere else and get it done for half the price. Like, okay, like I understand that, I respect your decision, but then they always end up calling you later on saying like, hey, can you
Can
fix
you fix
this?
this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
It's so interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's no matter the industry, it's the same problems. See, that's exactly why I started this podcast, is
Hmm.
because whether you own a car wrapping company, or a restaurant or a mechanic. Like it's the same issues we all have
Yeah,
as business owners, and it's just trying to navigate customers and customer relations and PR, HR, like
yeah,
human
yeah.
resources, like your employees, and it's all the same thing. So how does just one of the last things we'll talk about is the employee situation, like
Mhm.
the people that work with you or under you. Um, how has that been? How's the turnaround rate been? What if it's been good? What do you do to keep them there? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, so for as far as like my like employee retention and things like that, I mean, I have I don't really like move through people. I try to give them incentives and give them raises like often as they're improving, and it's kind of like the incentive like you're working hard, you're training, and we just had one of the employees right now go to a training school for
Oh,
paint
cool.
protection film, and part of that's going to be they're going to develop their skill, they're going to earn more money, right? So I'd love to see them grow for sure. I also learned that it doesn't matter if you're the cool boss. It doesn't matter. Like they don't want a cool boss. They just want someone who can lead them and have direction. Like they want someone who's like, they don't want someone who's like, oh yeah, like don't worry, you came in 10 minutes late, blah blah blah, whatever. Like I'm cool, you come a little late, but it's just okay, this is what we have scheduled for today. Like let's do this. And because really what I'm paying them, they can be working another position, somewhere else. So it's kind of become like um, they're choosing to work for me because they believe in me and the vision, like that they're gonna make more money, that we're gonna grow the business together, and that's like the end goal
Yeah.
that we all grow together.
Can you expand on the phrase they don't want a cool boss? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. So initially, I tried to be cool, like really, like I mean, I'm still am. I think I am cool, but as far as like being a cool boss, being super lax, like not having like structure and um, you know, just being like super lenient with them. It kind of just it makes for like a weird work environment, I think, for them because they're trying to figure out, well, like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Hmm.
I'm coming in like I think I should work on this or should I work on that project or like what am I supposed to be going? Like what am I supposed to be doing? And I've learned like it's just business, Like if they weren't getting paid what they were doing and they were doing a good job, like I'm incentivizing them. So I tried to stop being so like lax and like being
Providing more structure
yeah, just providing more
and
structure
direction.
and direction about like how we're running the business, like hey guys, like we have to clean up and we have to take out the trash before this time because it's scheduled for pickup or like you take a tool, put it back, not just being so lax, like, oh yeah, don't worry about it, leave it there, and like we'll pick it up later, because like later on they're gonna come around looking for that tool, and like where is it? I don't know. Someone kicked it underneath a car or something, and then now it becomes like not a cool work environment to be in because it's not structured.
Yeah, that's very, very fascinating. And I would very much agree. I think that it's so funny. Like, it's just structure is so important in so many areas of our lives. And we think that, like, we all, like, kind of crave that unstructured thing is going to be great. But, like, we need it and we need structure. We need direction. We need,
Hmm.
because otherwise you just flounder around. Like, well, what, even on my side of the industry, like, I do a lot of subcontract work, so
Hmm.
they have their vision. Then I go and film the stuff, and then I send it to my editors. And now, if I don't give these editors any direction, they're going to be like, "Oh, what does he want? I'm going to do what I think is best." And then I look at it and be like, "Oh, okay, well." And then I send it up. There's so many like they need to tell me what they want so that I can tell
Yeah.
them what I want, and then there's a clear line of communication. Otherwise, we're doing 15 different revisions for one stupid
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Like it doesn't have to feel corporate because I've worked corporate before and I didn't like it. Um, I worked for like Cisco servers and it was too much for me. Like even though like the pay was well, it just wasn't my vibe. And that's exactly
yeah,
what I mean. Like it just like what they're getting paid, if it's not structured well or it's not that environment that's like healthy for them, they just will go somewhere
yeah,
else. And they could be doing anything.
yeah.
So I think that's very important. Like I had to learn that because initially I had tried to become like best friends with my employees, and that was like the wrong move. I want to be friends with them. I want them to be able to like confide in me and all these things, but I also have to be their boss. It makes it harder to discipline
Hmm.
when you're like too close to them emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like letting people go, it sucks. That's like the worst thing. Thankfully, I only ever had to do it, I think like 2 times in 5 years. Thank God. But though they were very painful like experiences for me. Very, very hard. It took longer than it should have. And my advice is just don't let your ego like get in the way of letting someone go. Like don't feel like you did wrong. Like basically like how can I reword this? Like don't let your ego get in the way of firing someone, meaning we want to be we want to feel like we made the right choice by hiring this person. So sometimes you will like hold on to this like person for so long because you're like, I know they can do the job and they can do it well. They just need this structure, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Or it's you just know the headache that it's going to be to retrain
yeah,
somebody else, and both of those,
yes, yeah.
both of
So
those are
just
not
like,
fun.
just move on, let it go, and
Yeah.
if they're not, if you're doing everything right as a boss, you know, they should kind of reciprocate that as an employee. And I think that
Hmm.
we all have stress, we all have problems, but in the workplace, we just gotta really grind through it, especially in the small business, like every person counts in a small business.
Sure.
Can't really like hide anywhere. So
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
That's great advice, man. You're right, absolutely, because you can tell the difference between a fantastic employee and a subpar employee,
yeah,
and holding on to the subpar one for whatever reason just creates more headaches down the road,
yeah,
as opposed to just ripping the band-aid off and finding somebody new.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I held on to an employee who they can do the job well. Like they could do it. They're actually very talented, but I held on to them way longer than I should have. And
Because personality, or
well, like
like
they had
they.
family, they had, like certain attachments, and you become close to them,
No,
and
I'm saying like they were great, but what? Why did you have to let them go?
their work ethic was terrible.
Mhm.
They would always come in late every day. Like we open at 10, they'd come in like 1 o'clock.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they come in at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. The latest they've ever came was like 3 o'clock. And then, they would always leave early because of something. And it always upset me. I ended up working late so many times just to make up for the work that they didn't do.
Yeah.
And then I said, like, wow, this guy's like the boss at this point. Like he gets to come in when he wants, he gets to leave when he wants. But I held on to him because I felt like I needed him. And in the end, like again, like if you're being a good boss, they should reciprocate that and be a good employee.
Yeah, it's a great perspective. Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's advice I think a lot of business owners could take. So thanks for sharing that. So in conclusion, I like to ask the same question to every guest.
mhm.
The question is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started out in business?
That's a great question. Something that I knew now that I wish I knew when I started, to have policy.
In what sense?
To have policy in your business, um, as kind of you were saying, to like train your customer, to basically have policy like, hey, listen, you have to come in for your 2 week checkup, and it's your job to make sure you call me to schedule that, or to make sure that you show up for it. And if not, like I cannot warranty this. Like you can't come to me 2 years later and say, hey, listen, like I'm having an issue. Like, can you do it under warranty? Like that's void. To make sure that you have structure in policy as far as how you are interacting with your customers. When you intake vehicles, does the vehicle have scratches on it already, so you're not end up repainting someone's car because they're like, oh no, that wasn't there before. So now we take pictures all around the vehicle, do a walk around video of it. If there's like a dent or a ding, we make sure that they know about it. Any valuables in the car, we always tell them, make sure you take them out, because like I don't want to hear it later on, like, oh, I had a perfume bottle in my car or something and it's missing. Like no one's going to take that. But I think people forget that, they think that everyone's out to get them. So
Hmm.
yeah, definitely policy.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. Not only customer policy, but I think also, just as we were just talking, employee policy.
Mhm.
having structure for the employees, and hey, this is what time we show up. This is how we,
Yeah.
and if you say that right off the bat, like you don't have to correct them later on, or
Yeah.
maybe you do, but it's like, hey, remember like when we talked about earlier, like we have to clean up the tools, as opposed to like not having the policy, they don't clean up the tools. We're like, hey, now we have to start picking up the tools, and everyone's like, we haven't done that in 3 years. Why are we
Yeah.
doing it?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's great advice. That's great advice.
Absolutely.
Very
Yeah.
interesting. Well, I really appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you so much. I really
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you for sharing your story. It was very interesting, and I look forward to seeing the stuff that you're going to start posting on social media.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely.